NFL legends explain why it's so hard to guard Joe Burrow. There's only one Joe Burrow. 3 years ago, the Bengals drafted the Heisman Trophy winner first overall, and the rest is history. In this video, NFL players and legends talk about Burrow's game, his quarterback position, and why he's so hard to guard. Guess who comes first? The guy with more Super Bowl appearances than anyone else, Tom Brady. As you can imagine, there have been countless comparisons between Brady and Burrow. Many people have the feeling that Burrow's demeanor, an intense competitor who is a great leader, is certainly reminiscent of Brady's demeanor as a young player. So it's understandable why the comparisons have been made. Brady was approached at one time to talk about those comparisons, and he gave a very Brady-like answer. "He's done a great job," said Brady when asked about Burrow late 2022. "He's a great young player, he's got a great arm, runs well, and is very athletic. I'm really impressed by him overcoming the adversities that he has. There were high expectations for him coming out, and he's lived up to it," said Brady. "So a lot of credit to him. And their team's done a great job. They were in the Super Bowl last year. They're playing really well this year. Good defense, good offense, good special teams group, well coached. It's going to be a tough game." Joe Montana. NFL legend Joe Montana and Cincinnati Bengals star Joe Burrow met for the first time last month when they teamed up with Guinness to volunteer at City Harvest in New York City, and the NFL stars became pals immediately. The two stars had all words to describe each other. "I think his resume speaks for itself on the field, and then his resume off the field is just as impressive. What he's done for people and what he's done for the game has been. He's part of the reason that the game has grown so much to what it is today," Burrow says of Montana. On his side, former San Francisco 49ers Montana says Burrow is one of his favorite quarterbacks in the league. "He's one of those guys that's fun to watch, and he should have been back in the Super Bowl again. But my guess is he's going to find another way to get back here a few more times. Looking forward to watching him," says Montana. Ross Tucker. Burrow has drawn comparisons to plenty of former great quarterbacks, but Peyton Manning might be the most common. Former offensive lineman and current NFL analyst Ross Tucker is among those who believe Burrow is a modern-day Manning. "I was on the sideline when the Bengals beat the Bills in the snow, and I'm just so impressed by that guy," Tucker said on the Bengals Booth podcast. "He's the modern-day Peyton Manning. It felt like in that game against the Bills that he knew where he was going to throw the ball. Before he even got the snap 90% of the time, he was getting rid of the ball within 2 seconds. I was just thoroughly impressed by Joe." Phil Simms. Philip Martin Simms, famously known as Phil Simms, is one of the most synonymous names in the NFL. Simms' experience in the NFL provides another level of insight into the game. The former New York Giants quarterback and current CBS Sports NFL analyst also compared the Cincinnati Bengals' second-year quarterback to one of the greatest passers in league history. "When you're watching Joe Burrow, you're watching a modern-day Joe Montana," Simms said. Simms, during a sit-down with several media members, was asked to elaborate on his Burrow-Montana statement. Along with his comparisons to Montana, Simms said he's impressed with how quickly Burrow has bounced back from knee surgery that prematurely ended his rookie season. "Burrow's plays has led to a resurgence in Cincinnati. I've been thinking it for about a month. The guy reminds me of Joe Montana," Simms said. "Smooth, graceful, great feet, really knows how to move in the pocket, throws the ball in tremendous rhythm." Joe Montana is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Joe Burrow's a little quicker, probably a little more athletic, and maybe a little bit of a stronger arm than Joe Montana, and the uncanny ability to just know how to play the game. And I think that comes from Joe Burrow's background, that he was just an all-around athlete growing up. It shows when you watch him play, his movement in the pocket. Just buying his time has been really, really good for him so far this year. Frank Pollack. In 2021, only a year into the system, Joe Burrow caught the attention of everyone in the building, including offensive line coach Frank Pollack. Pollack, who was New York Jets offensive line coach before moving to Cincinnati, knew that Burrow would be a big name in the league. "He's an outstanding athlete and a really fun guy. He's a really low-key, humble guy," Pollack said on Wednesday. "He's all ball, too. It's like there's nothing else but ball. As a coach, you kind of gravitate towards those kind of guys." Pollack didn't stop there. He went on to say Burrow reminds him of his former teammate and NFL legend, Joe Montana. "He's an incredible, talented guy, but more importantly, he's got an aura about him. He reminds me a lot of Montana, having played with that guy. His swagger," Pollack said. "When he makes a statement, guys listen to everything he says, and he's deadly. Man, so we, the offensive line, got to do our part and give that guy all the time that he needs to make those great plays, which he's been doing." Pollack played for the San Francisco 49ers for 8 seasons, 1990 to 1997. He spent 3 of them with Montana. he wouldn't toss around that praise lightly. Pollack has played or coached in the NFL for the longest time, Ben Roethlisberger. It's not often you see someone associated with the Pittsburgh Steelers speaking highly of someone associated with the Cincinnati Bengals, but that was the case during a recent episode of Ben Roethlisberger's podcast. The former Steelers quarterback who won 2 Super Bowls with the franchise appeared on his Footballin' with Ben Roethlisberger show in January and offered some huge praise for Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. To sit there and actually watch Joe is one of the elites in the league. Like, he is good. His pocket presence, he can run enough. He's a sneaky good runner. Great decision making, great throws. I'm telling you what, I don't think it's too long until he's in the MVP talks. I really believe that. So I can't say enough about Joe, and it hurts me to say that about a division opponent, but I'm not in the division anymore, said Roethlisberger. Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is one of the smartest people to ever play the quarterback position at the college or NFL level. So it goes without saying that when the 5-time NFL MVP and 2-time Super Bowl champion says something, it's worth listening to. Peyton and his brother Eli, also a 2-time Super Bowl champion, have a show on ESPN Plus where they discuss draft prospects and draw on their experience to dissect what the public should expect from these prospects. Both Manning brothers, who will eventually be in the NFL Hall of Fame, seem to be very impressed with the work of former Alabama Crimson Tide quarterback Bryce Young. Though the conversations with their scouts and watching the film, the Manning brothers believe that the young NFL's comparison is Joe Burrow. Manning defends his claim by saying Burrow is kind of the guy that comes to mind because of his sixth sense in the pocket and decision-making, processing information quickly. The instincts that Bryce has, the ability to beat the coverage, keeps a lot of players alive. I love that. Peyton Manning is a top 3 quarterback in NFL history, comparing Bryce Young to a top 3 quarterback in the NFL currently. Pretty good hands to be in, if you ask me. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Well, I got a chance to talk to Joe. There's a picture I have on my Instagram of us last year at training camp. We was riding the famous golf cart around, and he stopped and started talking to me. I said, man, I want to thank you as a lineman, as a former lineman, as a lineman. I said, how you handle yourself during the games with your linemen. Because as offensive linemen, like, we always look to see which quarterback is really cool with his guys, which offensive linemen really ride with their quarterback. And sometimes, so I learned this from Boomer, and when Boomer was a backup quarterback, he still acted as a starter. He would ask questions. He would support Jeff Blake. He would support us. He would be having after the game parties at his house over in Kentucky. Just the lineman got us food and got some beers over there after the game with the lineman. He was doing all the things that made him a guy that everyone liked. And Jeff Blake was the same way.